First impressions are everything. So how do you make your new clients adore you and want to pay you again and again and again? Keep watching to learn the 6 steps I follow for every single one of my new clients. Hey guys, it's Alex. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new, welcome. Hit subscribe below to join the posse here on YouTube. Every single week, I release a new tutorial on how to start and scale your freelance writing business. So be sure to also hit that little bell icon so you don't miss any more videos from me. Now, this week's video is in response to quite a few of you asking, Alex, how do I start working with a new client? Well, let me tell you, there is a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. Finding prospective clients can be hard enough as it is, so when you do find one, you want to make sure to make an amazing first impression. So let's say you get approached by a prospective client online, or you get in touch with a business that needs your skills. Well, that very first interaction sets the tone for what is hopefully a closed deal and a great long-term working experience together. But let's face it, sometimes you don't get the job, or sometimes you do get the job, but a miscommunication leads to some unmet expectations and you've lost that client forever. Well, I'm here to make sure neither of those scenarios happen, so I'm gonna share my exact process that you can follow to not only have your clients say yes, but make them fall in love with you. These 6 steps will ensure clear communication, fair compensation, and a productive working environment for both you and your client. Cool? Now, if you're like, bah, Alex, I don't even know where to find my first client, let alone have one fall in love with me, well, you're gonna wanna hop on over to this video here on how to become a copywriter and get your very first client. All right, now let's dive into my 6-step client onboarding process that works like a charm. It all starts with the discovery call. Okay guys, so listen up. Your first goal with any prospective client is to get on the phone, preferably a Zoom call where you can actually see each other's faces. I know, scary, but I'm telling you, you'll never have a successful freelance business if you're afraid of face-to-face communication. So once you're in touch with your prospective client, simply ask when they might be able to hop on a quick discovery call so you can get to know more about them and their unique business needs. You see what I did there? You want to make this about your client, not about you or why they should hire you. And please do not send emails or DMs begging for work. That just seems desperate. The discovery call is your opportunity to get to know your client and offer value up front. But more importantly, it's your chance to suss them out and see if there's someone you'd actually like to work with, and vice versa. So ask them about their business, ask them why they started it, ask them what products and services they currently have, and the mediums they're using for marketing. And of course, ask them where they feel they need the most copywriting support. And you don't need long, 30 minutes should be long enough to get all the info you need at this stage of the game and get a good gut check on the kind of working relationship you could potentially have. Now here's a tip. Be courteous and flexible, and as much as possible, take charge of the call scheduling instead of leaving it up to your client. It's your process after all, so be the one to guide them along the experience and make it as easy as possible for them. And one more thing, guys, always record your calls, especially at this stage of the project. It's best to have everything on record so you can refer back to understand what's been agreed to and what expectations have been set. Okay, so step 2 is to send your client a personalized portfolio. So after the discovery call, follow up with an email thanking your client for their time and include a link to your portfolio with samples curated to their specific business needs. Now, you may have already sent them some samples when you first got in touch, and that's cool, but now that you have a better grasp on what they need and the nature of the project, you can curate a collection of work samples that match it. For example, if they want you to write a sales letter, this is where you can send them samples of your best sales page copy. If they want you to write an email sequence, of course, send them your best performing email campaigns. You get the idea. Now, of course, if you're just getting started, your portfolio will be limited. So you may want to include all that you have, and that's cool, but just keep this in mind as your business grows. And here's another tip, make it easy for your clients to view your portfolio. So instead of attaching a bunch of documents in one email, send them a link to a folder on Google Drive or Dropbox so they can easily access it without getting lost in an email thread. So in your email, ask your client to review your portfolio and get back to you with a specific project scope, which is step number 3. Locking down the scope of a project and understanding each deliverable is absolutely critical to determine pricing, timeline, and expectations. And the project scope is simply a list of deliverables the client needs and when they need them. Along with the scope, ask for any examples of existing pages or assets that are similar to what you're creating to give you a rough idea of the length and format. And make sure the list is as thorough as possible. And if there is any confusion or anything you're not clear on, ask for clarification now at this step. The last thing you want is to create any gaps that could lead to scope creep down the road, which is essentially when the project expands from what was originally agreed to without the time or budget to accommodate it. Now here's a tip, make sure to get the scope in writing via email rather than over the phone. It's easy to work with an organized list that everyone can read and refer back to as needed. So once you get the project scope, it's time to send your project proposal. Now this includes your quote for the entire project and your proposed timeline for the deliverable. This is also where you can suggest a payment schedule that would work best for you. For example, maybe you want to be paid 50% up front and then 50% upon completion of the job, or paid as milestones are completed throughout the project period. Also, and this is hugely important, be sure to note the currency in your quote. As freelancers, you'll work with businesses across the globe, which can leave a lot of room for miscommunication when it comes to currency. So be very specific about what currency you operate with in your project proposal. And while it might be helpful to provide a quote in your client's local currency, that can get a little bit complicated when it comes to payment if you don't have a bank account set up to receive those funds. So to avoid getting dinged with exchange rates, invoice in the currency you want to be paid in. And here's another tip. If this is a new client or a large project, you'd make a really good first impression by providing this proposal in a clean and styled PDF document. Now, I have zero, and I mean zero design skills, so I like to use Canva to create gorgeous PDFs with my logo and branding colors. But if this is a client you've worked with before, with whom trust has been established, you can simplify this process and stick to email. It's really up to you. Okay, now if you're not sure on how much to charge for your work, check out this video on my 8 pricing tips to build a 6-figure writing business. All right, so next, after you and your client agree upon the quote and timeline, it's time to move on to the statement of work. Your statement of work is a concise and optimized version of a freelancer contract that outlines the previously agreed upon job scope, quote, and timeline, and yes, of course, the currency you want to be paid in. Think of it as a one-page agreement, and you want to get everybody on that same page. Of course, some copywriters will still prefer to use a proper freelancer agreement, which I do recommend for new clients or unknown clients, or if you're entering into an ongoing retainer agreement. And you can get great free examples of freelancer contracts on sites like and.co and Freelancers Union. In my experience though, if there's going to be a miscommunication between you and your client, it almost always happens in relation to scope, timeline, and payment. So I use a super simple statement of work that cuts to the chase and outlines exactly what the project involves. And I get my clients to sign and date that rather than a long multi-page contract that can seem like overkill, especially for short one-off projects. So to help you guys out, I will give you my statement of work template for free that you can easily customize on your own and for your own clients. I'll tell you where you can get your hands on that in just a hot second. All right, so once the statement of work is signed, sealed, and delivered, you are ready to start the project. And this is where the fun begins. Now that both you and your client are crystal clear on what needs to happen and when, it's time to schedule an official brand call. Now, while it might be tempting to just start writing, I highly recommend you schedule a brand call with your client to understand their brand voice and messaging better. So on this call, you want to ask about their vision, their mission, their goals. How do they see themselves? How do they like to communicate? Are they friendly and quirky or matter of fact and practical? Whether you're a copywriter, a content writer, a designer, a developer, or a marketer, it is so important to be able to emulate your client's brand voice in your work and be able to understand the specific needs of your target audience. This is hugely important to know before you begin writing to avoid a ton of revisions or just completely missing the mark altogether. This is also a great time to ask more detailed questions about the product or service you're writing about and the context in which people will be seeing your copy. The more information you can gather about the brand, target audience, and user experience will really help you deliver work that's compelling, contextually relevant, and congruent. So once you've checked the brand call off the list, you can move forward and get started. Your project has now officially begun. Now, if you want to see my exact 10-step copywriting process that I follow for every single new sales piece I write, from the first outline all the way to the final draft, you can watch that video next right here. And as promised, to get my hands on my free statement of work template, just look for the link in the description below. That's it for now, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for joining. I will see you next week. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. Recording on the camera. The camera is recording.